From President Donald Trump to 526 to the gas tax, Dwayne Greene sits down with me one-on-one for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups.
Well, Dwayne.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So good to see you.
Good to be here. Thank you for interviewing me.
Well, anytime. And when I think of politics, national and local, I think of you.
Well, thank you.
And you're welcome. And let me just start off with the obvious. The White House travel ban block.
Yes.
This is coming from CNN. They said the following actually. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer confirmed Thursday that the Trump administration plans to appeal rulings from 2 federal judges that have temporarily blocked the revised travel ban. Spicer actually said this, quote, "The danger is real and the law is clear." Let me ask you this. What is the danger and what is your definition of the law in this particular case?
Right. Well, what they're looking at is the president's ability to govern and restrict certain classes of people from entering the United States. That is from the immigration powers, which are under the executive branch of the government. And so the interesting question, I guess, for the appeals court as it goes forward is, will they be able to use statements that President Trump used and made before he was elected to interpret those laws as being religious discrimination. And so he had made a point of saying he was going to try to target Muslims and keep them out of the country. And of course that's prohibited by the Constitution, targeting anyone because of their faith or their religious beliefs. So obviously everyone has an interest in keeping the country safe, but it's not immediately clear that his law or his executive order is going to do that, or it's not going to be discriminatory in the way that it's applied. So that's why the federal judges blocked it, and that's why it'll be an interesting question when it goes up to the appeals court or even the Supreme Court.
The wiretap allegations. CNBC says this. The Republican and Democratic leaders of the Senate Intelligence Committee said on Thursday they saw no evidence to support President Donald Trump's claim that the Obama administration tapped his phones during the 2016 presidential campaign. Here's a joint statement from both Mark Warner and Richard Byrd. Quote, "Based on the information available to us, we see no indications that the Trump Tower was subject of surveillance by any element of the United States government, either before or after the election day 2016. If you were to sit down with the president one-on-one, what would you ask him about this?
Well, I don't know that asking him anything would get you any closer to the truth, but the truth is that a bipartisan intelligence committee on both the House and Senate side has said there's no facts to back up President Trump's claim. So the disturbing thing that we've seen in the early part of Trump's very new administration is that they're very liberal with facts, and they don't necessarily back up their facts with any type of hard data. So this is something I think has been used to distract from Trump's real agenda, which, as we can see from his budget, is funneling money to defense for the country and taking it away from programs which help poor and disadvantaged people, and also the arts and the environment. So it's what he said he would do, which is the sad thing, but now that it's being done, it's very damaging to the country and very damaging to the respect that we usually have for the office of the president, which you rely on to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the blueprint. President Trump is expected to submit the budget blueprint, that is, on March 13th. If you were to get a copy of that particular page and that particular blueprint, what page would you go to first?
Well, I think at the beginning of it has a summary of the overall priorities of the budget and the president's priorities. And as I previously mentioned, it's very heavy on increasing the defense expenditures and taking away from the EPA, the National Endowment for the Arts, and other agencies which help poor people in the environment. So the question is, why do we need a huge military buildup? We're not at war presently, not any large war obviously. We still have what's going on in Afghanistan. So it's just a sense of his priorities versus what we've been having funded over several decades. And so the problem is popular programs like public education, obviously the EPA, those could be dismantled altogether based on this budget. So any budget's a give and take, and the hope is that Republicans and Democrats in the Senate and House will push back against this and preserve some of the spending that's gone on for years to help the less fortunate.
Speaking of the military, let me get to General Flynn. As you know, President Trump's former national security advisor, according to ABC News, was actually paid $56,200 by Russian firms in 2015, according to documents. When you hear that, what sticks out in your mind?
Well, I think that's just the tip of the iceberg. Flynn would have been Trump's national security advisor if not for these revelations. He defended him until it became impossible to do so, and they've been very resistant, not just Trump, but also some Republicans in the House, to having a more in-depth investigation or hearings on Trump's ties to Russia prior to the campaign and probably even now. So I think there is a lot more to be discovered. It is highly problematic having outside power and even an adversary trying to influence the outcome of U.S. elections. And I think as these investigations go forward by the FBI, who up until now fortunately seems outside of Trump's influence, we'll find out more disturbing facts about the ties between the campaign and the Russians. So it's very sad, it's very disturbing, and the question is, if these are eventually proven, what happens then?
Healthcare, as you know, President Donald Trump wants to repeal Obamacare. Obviously, there's a power struggle, if you will, between the Democrats and Republicans. What is going on here in your mind?
Well, interestingly enough, it's not just, you would think it's just between the Democrats and Republicans, but there are also a significant number of Republicans, particularly moderates and ones from districts that voted for Clinton, who do not want to see Obamacare dismantled in its entirety. So they've put forth a plan which some critics call Obamacare Light or Trump Care, and that doesn't look like it has any chance of passing without the kind of support that Obamacare had. And what people fail to remember is that Obamacare didn't pop up in the first 100 days of Obama's presidency, but it took a whole lot of lobbying, important groups like the American Medical Association, several large insurance companies, and other constituencies like the AARP to get the Obamacare passed. So the possibility of Trump just repealing it, simply thinking that he has all of the Republican support, is very remote at this point. And the hope is that what he's trying to replace it with will also be stopped, because that would be disastrous for Americans relying on healthcare and also for the economy.
Let me move to local issues. Describe to me the following in one word: the completion, that is, of 526.
Yeah, it seems like it's something that has to happen. Anyone who drives around in Charleston can see that traffic is getting worse. More people are moving to Charleston, and the funding for 526 is something that has to be a collaborative effort between local and state officials. So there's a powerful group that wants to stop 526 from being completed,
right.
But it seems as though there's a consensus finally on Charleston County Council that it has to happen and that the county needs to help with its part. So it looks like it's going to happen, but it's obviously a whole lot of money, and there are some hurdles between now and actually the final funding. But I think most reasonable people in the Charleston area would say, to the extent that we do need relief and for the traffic congestion to improve, 526 is something that's necessary and it's eventually going to get done.
Gas tax.
Gas tax seems we finally got to a consensus in the State House. that the gas tax should be levied. The roads need it, and even though a lot of Republicans in the state house are against new taxes of any shape or form, because South Carolina's gas taxes were so low, they said, well, a couple of cents on the gallon would not make a huge difference. Governor McMaster apparently has either vetoed or said that he would not support a raising of the gas tax.
Right.
So that's a battle that's has yet to be determined. But it's something that I think makes perfect sense. If you go to other neighboring states, their gas is a lot higher, and their roads are a lot better. So you can't get better roads without having some way to pay for it. And gas tax seems like the best way to do it. So hopefully it's something that the legislature can get passed, or the state house folks, even over the objections of the governor.
I know at one point, I went back and I watched it last night on YouTube, but you ran for, I believe, Senate District 42?
Yes, in 2008.
That's right.
Okay, I'll send him an email.
As we sit here right now, what does your future look like from a political standpoint?
Well, I support friends in the legislature. The eventual winner of that seat after Senator Ford eventually left because of the ethical complications was Senator Marlon Kimpson. I think he's doing a fabulous job, and I support him wholeheartedly. Leon Stavronakis is another legislator who I think the world of, and so what I try to do is to support those local officials that I think want to move the ball forward on education, affordable housing, things that are important, I think, for Charleston and the state moving forward. And I like to be, I guess, out of the spotlight and behind the, on the sidelines for now. Maybe I'll get involved in politics in a more direct sense down the road. But when you have good people on the front lines, they need support also. And I try to do my best to support those and also support causes that need funding and attention.
Are you going to run for governor?
Definitely not ready for that. Definitely not ready for that.
Dwayne Greene, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate this.
Well, thanks for having me.
Anytime.
All right, great.